Evolved, your home for Halo.
Welcome to Builds with Bloks, your show centered around the micro action figures and brick-based construction sets of the Halo universe. Our show has been on hiatus for some time, but today we wanted to dive a little deeper into where we've been and why we've been paused so long, and what's been going on in the broader mega community that has really shaped that. I'm your host, Tom Fishenden, and joining me for this episode are a couple of guests from the mega collecting community who are really going to help to unpick what's been going on in the community and why channels like ours might have been a little bit quieter than usual. So I am delighted to be joined by mega reviewers, community members, and content creators, Demarcation Media and Collect 'Em All. Thank you both for joining me, guys.
Very welcome. Glad to be here.
I think this is going to be a really fun conversation. I do think it's fair to say off the top of the bat that this isn't necessarily going to be the easiest episode. I think all three of us love collecting the Mega Halo line, and we love so much of what Mega have done with this line, but it does feel as though there have been problems which have become more pronounced in the past couple of years. So really we are doing this video as a follow-up to Z's video, which was published on his channel, Demarcation Media, which was looking at the state of Mega currently. So what we really want to do is build off the back of that, talk a little bit more about where things are currently, and then dive into that in today's discussion. So before we do that, I'm going to do a little bit of a round update, and as you both haven't been on the show before, I'm going to change this up a little bit. So I'll start with you, Collect 'Em All. Why don't you tell people who you are, what kind of content you work on, and what you've been building recently?
So I am Jacob, aka Collect 'Em All. As you can see, I've been not doing a ton recently because obviously that's part of what we're talking about today. Haven't been able to find much. I collect really everything, hence the name Collect 'Em All. Mostly Lego, Mega, Masters of the Universe, Jazzwares, Halo, everything you can think of. I probably own something of. But yeah, so I've been on YouTube not a very long time. I started about a year ago, I think, and I've been enjoying it. And it's been good to get to know some people in the Mega community. It seems like a great community and a lot better than some of the other ones I've been around collecting wise. And yeah.
Awesome. And then Demarcation, what about you? See, I realized I said I wasn't going to use your name on this episode, but I've already used it, so we can go with that if you want.
Either way is fine. Yeah, I'm Z or Demarcation Media. Oh gosh, I just realized I've been doing YouTube videos about Mega since like 2019 now, and it does not feel that long.
Wow.
Yeah, my brain can't wrap around that. But I've been doing reviews essentially to try and fill the hole that Jang left behind, because I used to love watching his videos.
Yeah.
And I loved his style, and then he just kind of stopped doing Mega as things got a little dicey. And then he didn't really come back for like the upswing in 2020.
Yeah.
So I just kind of kept rolling with it. And so I've been doing some Lego stuff, Mega stuff. I also do Gundam, and I recently just started getting a few figures from Joy Toys Warhammer line, which may or may not prove to be a very expensive dive, but we'll see. We will see.
I feel you on going completely down the rabbit hole. If I reach to my side, where I've not been buying as much Halo, I've started collecting vintage collection.
Figures.
Oh my god, I have fully gone down the rabbit hole.
That is a deep rabbit hole too.
Yeah.
It really is. I literally have Mando and the child in his pram coming tomorrow, and I'm like, I don't need these figures. I've only just got paid. What am I doing?
That's the problem with collecting, is like you'll find one figure that looks cool and then you'll buy it, and then you'll just be down the hole of buying 100 of them, and it's just like, well, there's another.
It's that feeling, isn't it? If this looks cool on the shelf, maybe it would look even cooler with more figures like it alongside it.
I've been tempted to get some of the clone troopers from the vintage collection, but I'm like, no, I will spend too much. I can't.
I'm going fully on a tangent already. Have either of you been watching The Bad Batch?
Yes.
It's
okay,
good.
Right. I'm about to make you very jealous here. Just gonna hold up Captain Hauser here.
Oh,
Yeah, that is really cool.
Such a good character.
He's such a cool figure. I have literally just knocked half of the figures that were on my shelf off to pick up Hauser, but there we go. It's all good. We're wrecking the display live here.
Nice.
But yeah, so no, it's really awesome to have both of you. Z especially, I've known you for a while, and it's been really cool seeing your kind of review style expand recently. I've noticed how you've sort of transitioned into those longer format reviews where you go through the whole process, and I really enjoy that. So that's been really cool. So yeah.
I definitely think that's a good thing, Z, because like I know I've seen a lot of reviews and people forget like one little thing and they're like, "Why didn't you show this? I really want to see it." So it's like, I love it when your review is like, I love your reviews. I think you've done a good job kind of filling in for Jane, like you said, but like you cover absolutely everything. I really don't think people can be like, "You forgot this or you forgot that." So there's a great thing about it.
I do my best to cover all of it.
Every now and then you get you didn't show us the underside of the peg in the figure's foot. What are you doing?
Yeah, but there's always those people on YouTube.
Yeah, there definitely are.
Cool. Well, thank you so much both for giving up some of your time tonight to do this. I really do appreciate it. So I'm going to take us straight into the main topic because I think it's something that has been weighing heavy on the community recently. And obviously, Z, you did your fantastic video on it that's got an insane amount of traction. So clearly it's something that people care about quite greatly. So I think really it's important for me to sort of set the stage initially on this. And the thing I want to be really clear about before we dive into this is the fact that we do, as I've said, really love these products. And, you know, I can attest for myself, I've taken a break from them in the past. I used to collect a lot right when we first moved to the super articulation, and then I took a break. And I came back to them because they're such good products and it's such a great community to be a part of.
If we didn't care, we wouldn't be doing this. So it's like...
Exactly. You're spot on, Jacob. We care, and that's why we feel this is important, because we love these things so much and we don't want to make something that's just slanderous or it's unfounded criticism, but what we really want to do is elevate the collective voices of the community. And so many people who engage with all three of our channels, engage with our content, engage on social platforms, have been sharing the same kind of frustrations with collecting at the moment. So I think we all feel it's really important that we champion those voices within the community, and that actually as people who have got platforms within this space as well, we really want to use those to try and guide the conversation to ultimately get better products for everyone and better access to those products. So to anyone from Mega listening particularly, you know, Jan, if you're watching this, Kevin, I know that you watch a lot of these, please do know that we love your work and we love how much passion and enthusiasm goes into designing these sets. And, you know, we've never doubted that. We've never thought that there isn't a lot of passion and enthusiasm that goes into this. And we know that many of the issues that we're going to discuss today aren't simple things to solve, and they're not necessarily things that you have direct control over. But with that said, in the same breath, it's really important that as members of the community, we don't brush these things under the rug completely, and actually we're willing to address them. So hopefully that sets the scene. Did either of you have anything you wanted to add to that before we go into it?
Mainly just like, for me, I feel like Mega is kind of its own unique thing. And that's part of the reason why I don't want to see it fall apart. Because like, I don't think anywhere else there's such a perfect fusion of like the building block side of things and then the action figure side of things. And then on top of that, their Halo line is probably the most complete action figure line for Halo out there. Like, I don't even think McFarlane got as close to Mega's
nowhere near.
Oh, no.
library of figures. So that to me is kind of the main thing that's like makes Mega worth, you know, trying to pick back up again.
Yeah, I can definitely like agree with that. Like they put out incredible products. Like the problem isn't the actual product, it's getting it obviously, but like the stuff they've put out, like for example, I got this right here, the Hornet I recently got. This thing is amazing for like, and I mean, I feel like they do put in a lot more passion and a lot more effort and care and like what do the fans want than like Lego or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
that's a whole other beast to talk about. But like, Mega just does an awesome job, and I think their, like, prices are fair, their quality is very readily approving. So yeah, I think I mean, like I said earlier, if we did not care so much about this, we wouldn't care if we could get our hands on it. So it's like we want to be able to purchase these because they are awesome products. So
Yeah. I think you set the stage perfectly for the first topic I really wanted to talk about as well, Jacob, which is distribution. So for anyone who has been collecting more recently, I think it's fair to say that there was a period of a lot of hope around the release of Halo Infinite, where a lot of stores seemed to finally be buying back into Mega. There were lots of sets like the Warthog Rally and the Mongoose on shelves. Actually, here in the UK, we saw Mega Construx in brick and mortar stores for the first time in about 6 years. So that was really cool to see. And I think that was a period of time where people felt like distribution was finally getting course corrected for the better. But then sadly, what has happened since then is it certainly feels as if it has fallen back into the levels we saw in that quiet period between Halo 5 to Halo Infinite again, where it's a lot harder to track things down. It has become near impossible in some cases to track down heroes figures, although luckily wave I want to say 11 are finally popping up with Kelly the Skirmisher, etc.
Oh, that's
16.
16.
Oh wow, my numbers are really up.
are they starting to pop up? Because I haven't seen them like anywhere. I mean,
Slowly, they are slowly.
Yeah.
Slowly and sporadically, which honestly, I would say that this quiet period is worse than before. I wasn't really around for the before, but never ever have we had an entire hero series be fake with official packaging. That's a whole new low.
Yeah, I am so glad you mentioned that, Z, and actually let's jump into that straight away. So I think for me, that especially is a massive stain on Mega at the moment. Because the fact that that wave was brand new sculpts, like the scrap cannon, like the pulse carbine, and they were actually able to be bootlegged before the official releases, is crazy to me. There is no time where that kind of thing is okay, and I think the fact that there has been absolutely no addressing that since then is really, really disappointing. Like, I understand it from a business perspective that acknowledging that something like that has happened is really difficult, but you have a lot of your diehard fans who have spent more money to import things and try and get them to support the brand, who have then been screwed over by that, and they have no way of getting any kind of compensation for that or anything. So I think that's quite disappointing, and I'd be curious as to how both of you feel on that, because I think for me that was really the straw that broke the camel's back for me when it came to collecting as much as I was beforehand.
The more I've actually learned about the situation, I'm kind of understanding why Mega hasn't made any statement.
Yeah.
Because all the little bits of information that I've gotten, even I talked to somebody who claimed to have talked directly to the people that were getting these.
Yeah.
That basically it wasn't bootleg per se, because typically a bootleg is a product comes out, a Chinese company says, we like that, let's get a copy of the instructions and then make it ourselves. What this was, and again, this is kind of still a little bit rumor-ish, so I don't want to sound like I'm stating this for sure, but it seems to me, and based on all the information I've gotten, that it was Mega's factories that they hired that actually took the brand new molds that they had and ran them off the cloth and made their own. And because I think it was right exactly when China went back into lockdown, that meant Mega couldn't send any inspectors over, which meant the factories were perfectly free to do whatever they wanted with these molds. They ran them like crazy with poor materials and then pumped them out because they would have known exactly when the official ones were shipping out, because they would be producing them. So they just cranked out theirs, sold them straight out of the warehouse, and now they're everywhere.
That's a logical explanation for it. But that does scare me because, like, what else could get bootlegged in the future if that's an issue? I do hope that Mega was somehow able to, figure out, oh, this factory bootlegged this and will not hire them in the future. But again, this is distribution. If we could purchase these things from Amazon, Target, Walmart, etc., we would not have to worry about, is this fake? And I think that obviously hurts the online market because now that a lot of people know there's a possibility these are fake, there's going to be a lot less purchases online, which is like Mega's only, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's really hard to find this stuff. But that hurts even worse now because, like, going back to Lego, I guess, there's always bootlegged Lego. But, like, you don't have to worry about buying a bootleg Lego if you're in Target, Walmart, Amazon, Lego store buying it. I mean, there's always, possibility. You go on eBay, you might get one. But, like, there's just more availability that people are like, I can buy it at Target, and it's pretty much guaranteed that this is a real product. So, again, that does right back to distribution.
It does. I think you've hit a really good point as well, Jacob, there, actually, where a lot of Mega purchases especially, it almost feels like you're already making a purchase from a black market of sorts anyway. Like, it's so hard to track it down that you really have to jump through hoops to find it. And then the idea that now, even if you find it, it might not be a legitimate product, that's going to shake buying confidence so much. I mean, I'm at the point where, so if my accent hasn't given it away, I'm in the UK, so I'm never going to see Heroes on shelves anyway. So I have to import them. And now I know that if my friend who does all my Jurassic toy hunts for me doesn't find Heroes, I'm not going to get Heroes because there's no chance of me risking importing them from another reseller now, because how do I know that they're legitimate?
I will say there is ways to tell now if they're fake or not. Like, for example, Series 18 is available on eBay now, which is so aggravating. And I want to do a video entirely just talking about that, where I don't know what's happening, but it seems to not be. Again, I don't want to say like I know all this for sure, but it really doesn't seem legal because Mega did confirm that Series 18 is a fall Heroes wave. So we are months before those should even be out of the warehouse.
Yeah, I know.
But from the looks of it, those are not bootleg. There are some pretty clear signs, particularly with the stands, the little pegs in the middle. If you look at the bootlegs, they're really flat and the hole seems to be smaller. And you can just zoom in on the images and see
it just doesn't look right.
So, no, it doesn't. But people don't pay attention to that. Like, your average collector is not going to hyper analyze every eBay listing just to find the right
like
thing.
I've seen so many people buy things that look so fake and be like, I didn't know it was fake, and it's like so obvious that it is, but it just shows how people don't pay attention. So now it's like you have to analyze every single little piece of it to make sure it's not fake. Then obviously less people are. But it feels like eBay is a retailer now. Like, what's that guy on eBay, like Walmart or whatever? That guy, like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
The guy, I think, like, he feels like a retailer now. And it's like, they can charge whatever they want. So it's not great when eBay's the main retailer where we can get stuff like this. But it's like, it just does feel like eBay's like an Amazon for Mega now. So
that's a good point. Paul Mart's store in particular, I believe he's based in California, which is where
Frankenstein's a lot of stuff in large quantities.
That's where everything is going. Frankenstein's is getting everything, and for some reason, it doesn't even sound like Mega knows how in the world they're getting stuff, because I think it was Kevin said that he confirmed that the drop pods were a late spring release, and that randomly Frankenstein's got it, which makes
who knows? Maybe it's I'm like, it just that Paul Mart guy. It seems like he's a retailer of some kind because he gets large quantities of them, like. Not massive, but like more than just I got one in hand, Yeah. It feels like he gets a normal shipment-ish kinda. So I don't know how that's happening, but it's a little odd.
It is.
It is, and I think the thing that really sort of bothers me with distribution as a whole is the fact that Mattel Creations is there as a platform. We've just seen it with the fan vote. I don't understand why that platform has existed for 2 years now and more hasn't been done to get parity, so all of the products are available on it. Like, you look at Hasbro Pulse, for example.
Hasbro Pulse got everything.
Yeah,
almost.
and yes, it sells out a lot, but that's a separate problem, because if you're there and you're on it and you know when things are releasing, at least you have a fair chance at picking things up.
It feels like other things besides Mega are kind of like that. Like Masters of the Universe, they got a lot of stuff on there that's like Target, Walmart, retail stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like it does feel like Mega's kind of behind on having stuff on there. So
honestly, I feel like that has to do with the popularity of Halo. I think that's the huge. That's like maybe not like the entirety of the problem, but a good 70% of the problem is the fact that Mattel is probably going, oh, well, look at these numbers, look at the player base for Halo, look at all of the interest, and then look at all the interest for this other stuff. So we're going to give priority to Pokemon or Masters of the Universe.
I can actually
Universe just get a new show recently.
Yeah, so they had one that came out. They've had two actually. One that was more like throwback adult kind of. It wasn't like an adult show. It was kind of made for. It was just made for like, you know, the kids in the '80s who are grown-ups now or adults now, I guess, to understand. Yeah, and like there's another kid one that's made for like little kids, and it's terrible. I tried like one episode. And I'm like, this is. But no, like here's an example. I see people all the time on Discord complaining, why does every store stock Pokemon and not Mega? Pokemon doesn't seem to sell. Well, I did a little research on Amazon. I don't know if this is something that's been there forever and I've just never noticed it, but recently above, when you search up a product, it'll say like this amount sold in the last week.
Yeah.
And I've looked at Mega and it's like, or Halo, and it's like 50 plus sold, 100 plus sold on products, not everything, but most stuff. And then with Pokemon, it says 500 plus sold, 1,000 plus sold, 5,000 plus sold. So it sells way more than Halo. And obviously, I think Simon the Domain, I was watching a live stream he had a week ago. He touched on that too. He said like Pokemon, way more popular. It's like the most popular franchise in the world, I think. Might be wrong on that, but it's very popular. Halo is not, and obviously Halo Infinite is not doing great. I mean, they're doing a little better now. They've had some decent stuff recently.
Some life support, isn't it?
Yeah. It's pretty good, honestly, recently. But it's just that there's a way bigger popularity for Pokemon than Halo, which, again, I see people who are like, my Target never sells Pokemon, or they have all kinds of Pokemon, but it just never sells. They have Halo, and it sells out like this. So I don't, again, that's a little bit, kind of contradicts what I say about the Amazon thing, but the bottom line is Pokemon is 10 times more popular, if not 100 times, whatever, more popular than Halo. And it's just, we got to accept that. So we got to figure out a different way to go about,
Honestly, I think for the Target thing, how they're, even Walmart has consistently, at least the ones in my areas, have stocked the Mega Pokemon stuff consistently.
They definitely do,
it's always on the shelf, and the Halo stuff sells out quick, which makes me think maybe it is selling, and they just have such a large amount in the back that they can keep a full shelf at all times, even when it sells out.
Yeah,
and
it's just, I don't know. It's just, it
like
feels a little odd. I don't know.
The Hornets seem to be pretty decently stocked. It looks like they probably bought a decent batch.
Yeah.
And those go out.
There's the issue. One set out of the entire wave has had relatively decent distribution. One set. And Series 2 Universe blind bags are amazing, and they've had decent in the US. Like
they've had the best blind bags distribution since like Universe Series 1 or what was it, Infinite Series 3?
Infinite Series 3 was like everywhere.
Yeah,
I still found those under the shelf at like Dollar General now. It's crazy. But I mean, they're everywhere still. But
honestly, I think the main problem is there's a bit of a case of a mixed up demographic, I would say, because Pokemon appeals to a wide range, from the kids who just want the cute looking Pikachu to the adults who like actually playing the games, whereas Halo doesn't have that wide of an audience per se. Like, you're not gonna have the little kids looking at the Halo stuff and wanting to buy it because it looks cool necessarily. So I really think that Mega could do well by splitting what they do in half a bit, keeping the more kid-related stuff on the one side as the, you find them in stores, and then taking the little collectible action figure stuff and treating it more like collectible action figures. So like I mentioned
Yes.
Joy Toy earlier. If Mega treated the Halo line and whatever other line they might do with the little action figure framework the way that Joy Toy treats their line, then it might have more success, because that would be appealing directly to the hardcore fan base that wants the tiny little versions. And that could even lead into more like crowdfunded stuff. So like Mega has said before, I think both Yan and Kevin have said that their original IPs don't sell well. And the argument that I would make is maybe they're not selling well because they're being sold at the wrong audience. So like Target, it'll be the kids. The kids won't necessarily want to buy the medieval knights pack because Pikachu is bright yellow and cute.
They want to buy something like Ninjago. If they did something like that, it's like super cool and like made for kids.
Light, flashy, fun, not the dark looking medieval fantasy stuff. But
that's a great point.
Were, say, a crowd-funded idea, similar to like what Hasbro Pulse does.
Yeah.
It was Hasbro that did the giant Sentinel, right? Like that.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That thing is awesome.
You would never ever see that in a Target. What?
No, they couldn't
going
afford
to buy their child.
Well, think about the Razor Crest.
Yeah, that too. That was, as far as I could see, everybody loved it. It got plenty of backers.
Yeah.
And that is not something a parent would ever buy their child in the store.
Well, I can talk on that for Halo, or not Halo, Masters of the Universe. They just had this massive play set that was like called, what's it called? Attorney, I think. And it's like $550 plus like $50 shipping. So it ends up being like $700 after everything with taxes and stuff. And I'm like, they're like minimum, I guess the minimum, amount of purchases before we actually put it in production is like 1,000. I'm like, there ain't, or basically like 10,000 or something like that. And it's like, there ain't no way that 1,000 people are gonna buy this. Like 8,500 people ended up purchasing it. I'm like, that's what I'm saying. The adult, when you do it like that, but that wouldn't sell if it was at a retail. Like obviously retail doesn't purchase big stuff. Like, but it's funny, we're like, retailers only purchase, the only big stuff I see at retail is like Lego. Like I only ever see $300 or $250, $300 Lego sets. That's the only big stuff collectible wise I see at like Target. Every other toy line, it's like caps out at like 100 or something like that, so I don't know. I mean, I guess Lego sells really well, but
yeah, they buy the big Lego stuff because they know the big Lego stuff will sell, and they don't want to put risk on big Mega sets, because like the Phantom barely, I think some people found it in a couple stores, but the majority of stores didn't even touch it, because that's a lot of money to drop on something that you're not necessarily sure if it's going to sell. And that could be a big loss if you have to discount all of them 50 or 70% pretty quickly because nobody wants to buy them.
See, Mega's got an interesting demographic, or Halo does, because I feel like there's a lot of people who are like, 13, 14, up till whatever age. And I feel like a lot of these teenage-ish era, or, age are not really, like, obviously, I've seen a lot of people talking about this fan vote. Like, $75, that's a lot of money to just drop in 2 weeks for a good bit of people. So that kind of stuff is like, big stuff, I don't know if Mega's, they have to figure something out, because big stuff will sell eventually, but not right off the bat. Like, obviously, I think that has to do with the size of the fan base, right? Lego has a massive fan base, so there's always going to be people who are going to buy that big stuff. Mega, or Halo, I guess, has a smaller fan base, so the amount of people who are willing to drop that big money that quick are not as big. You know what I'm saying? Not as many.
It's lessened, Yeah.
Yeah.
That fan vote is a separate sore point for me, because I've seen a lot of the disparity around the shipping costs, and that's really thrown me off looking at picking that up. I think I will at some point, but just seeing some of that conversation.
I'm debating picking it up because it looks like such a good set, but my problem, and I know this is just how it's going to be, I hate when I pre-order something and I gotta put all my money down right off the bat and then wait a whole year for it to ship. And
that's why they need to call it a crowd fund, because that's really what we're doing. We are funding it. We're not pre-ordering it. It's not going
to be paying for them to actually make it.
It's not going to be made unless we buy it.
Yeah.
So
that's just how it's got to happen. But it does just eat at me where I'm like, man, they're just sitting on my $75, $80.
A simple change of the words would make that so much
more
painful.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing. a $75 set, which doesn't seem like that much, is something that a lot of people are saying this is too much money to drop in 2 weeks. And I'm just saying that's what I'm talking about with like the amount of people who are willing to purchase these things.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's.
I will say though, the amount of people that are willing to drop money on 6+ of them at once probably outweighs the amount of people that are not buying it at all.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
I see people like, I'm investing in this. I just bought 6 of them. I'm like,
but see, it's a great idea to invest in it. I'm not an investor. I resell. I'm not a scalper. Everybody's like, oh, you're a scalper if you resell. I don't scalp
no,
stuff,
there's a
but I
difference
do
between
like.
reselling and scalping.
Yeah, I think that's a whole other thing that I see people arguing about all the time. And I'm like, guys, if you buy something and then resell it, it's not scalping. Because I'm like, there's a whole. But I mean, if you buy everything and then resell it, it's scalping. But like, I'm gonna probably get one. It looks like a really cool set. It's not a ton of money. I think it's a fair value for what you get. Like I feel like again, I see a lot of people arguing like this is too much money, but I'm like on a lot of Mega sets, I'm like, guys, if you look at every other toy company, Mega's got very fair prices. It feels like, so I don't think prices are a big deal. Like, you see the prices that Lego's got on stuff now? It's like literally, are you kidding me? Like, what are you guys doing? Like they're just
no. I think the people that are complaining about Mega's prices need to just chill out for a little bit.
Yeah.
That it's not that big of a price jump. Like it's honestly not.
Yeah, like their inflation hasn't gone up as much as I've seen a lot of other. Like so what that a blind bag used to cost. Like so what that a blind bag used to cost $2.99 at Target, now it's like $3.19. Like other companies have just way up. It's kind of
skyrocketed.
Yeah, like Black Series and stuff. Black Series figures are expensive.
I don't buy them because they're like $35 for a basic figure, and I'm like, what is happening? It's like what? Like, no, like $30. Like it's just like $28.50 at Target for just like a basic figure, and I'm like, that is ridiculous. I know it's Star Wars, obviously that's the Disney's tax on everything, but it's kind of nuts to me how expensive some of that stuff is.
It is. So it's really crazy. A lot of the price jumps are happening. I think all of that kind of stuff does tie back to some extent to distribution, and I think if obviously something isn't available, or if it has to be available through a smaller platform like Mattel Creations, then they have to charge more to cover all of the costs associated with that. I'm curious, just because I feel like we've touched on the second topic a little bit, so I do want to move us into that, but I wanted to ask, to round out this sort of portion of the conversation, really, what is the one biggest thing that you would both like to see on distribution to try and address it? Z, why don't you take this one first?
I mean, the big thing is just use Mattel Creations more.
Yeah.
Which they're starting to do. They're doing it slowly. I don't fully understand why it's so slow. I mean, I do a little bit just because where I work in both marketing and production, and I get to see a bit of shipping. And so for a small company, there's a lot that goes into that. But at the same time, Mattel is the one behind it, so they could be putting a little bit more weight into it. So using Mattel Creations, and also them getting new factories. Stop using the factories that they're using now.
Yeah. Jacob, what about for you?
I mean, I'd say Mattel Creations. I would love to see the day where I could walk into Target and Walmart and just have Heroes blind bag sets on the shelf. That would be amazing. And maybe we'll get there one day. Who knows? But Mattel Creations is like the one easiest option at the moment. And it's like, I think they got to figure out shipping. That's another, like, I think they got to figure out how much that, I don't know. Like, I don't know how they would do that, but I've seen,
shipping is a pain right now, especially to the EU. There's these new, like, landed shipping costs. I tried to buy 2 Universe Series blind bags to France. It was going to cost me $17 to ship it to him. And then it was going to cost another $27 for them to release it to him from the post office. So all told, it was going to be, with the price of the figures, it was going to be like $50, $55, $60 for 2 grunts.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. And that's, see, I didn't in Mega's control. That's obviously, EU's stuff. But like, I don't know, just Mattel Creations, it's just the best idea right now. I mean, I know it's probably not perfect, but it's the best that they can do right now.
It gets us somewhere there, doesn't it? And that's the thing, is it's a step forward rather than doing nothing.
Yeah, that's definitely. But then it's like, I do think people, like, I think you talked about this, Z2, in your video, like, people always think the issue is directly Mega's fault. and there is literally so much
Yeah.
that is just wrong right now. Like Mattel's not got great distribution. Obviously, the whole world's distribution isn't very good right now. The pandemic kind of ruined, because I think like Mega's big 2020 Infinite wave came out like right at the beginning of the pandemic, and it was like so much, and it was awesome. And then the pandemic hit, and that's not their fault. That's that Craig. Oh, I can't. That smiling Craig. But I mean, it's just, I think Mattel Creations is a great idea right now, and people just like. I mean, I won't say lay off of Mega completely, but like it's not all their fault. There's so much like we can't see what goes on in behind.
I love it when people act like they can.
Yeah, like I love it when people are just like they know exactly. I'm like, we might have an idea, but it's only what we can see from our. And I think again, I'm not trying to go down 100 rabbit holes, but Mega's decent at letting the fans in on what's happening. Obviously, recently they have been a little bit. They've just kind of dropped it, but like about a year ago, I mean, it was amazing when you could literally just have like. Mega felt like it was part of the community, and that you could like. Obviously, people have taken that a little too far, and that's why it stopped a little bit. I think with like Squad 45, people were not very took their privilege a little too far and kind of ruined it. But
so let's dive into that fully then, Jacob, because I think that actually communications is a big thing that we talk about a lot, Z, and I think it's really important. And I think certainly in the past couple of years, it feels like as creators, Mega have been a lot more hands-off than we were perhaps like. They haven't necessarily engaged in things in the same way that they have done in the past. And I also think equally it feels like they're pretty disengaged with the community overall. And I think some of that does come from Squad 45, like you say. But I think equally there's just some kind of disconnect there. And the biggest thing that I think stands out for me when it comes to communications is the announcement of the fan vote and the initial reception that had when that came at such a bad time.
Oh, that was painful.
The conversation around that initially was so negative, and that could have been completely avoided. So I'm curious, let's open up the conversation around communications. What do both of you think about where we are with communication right now, firstly?
Go ahead, Z. Just like there's a lot of people's
I feel like it's such a dicey situation just because, again, like you said, Jacob, there's a lot we don't know.
Yeah.
But Mega was doing so well for a while. We had I feel like the big upswing was the reveal of the 20th pack. The way that they got all of those people together to reveal this set in pieces, that was so cool.
That's nothing I've ever seen really ever happen with other companies.
And like I haven't seen other companies do that either. It was something really cool. It was really unique, and I was like, this is great. And then we saw them do the reveal for the fall wave with the ODST pack and all of that with the live stream, and like it was so cool. And then it took a huge hit, and I do wonder if the 20th pack had a big part in that, because it was such a messy situation where it was just nowhere and people were getting mad, and I think that maybe took it down a notch. And then we had the reveal of the Forward Unto Dawn buildable ship, and that seemed like Mega was trying to do the same thing, where it was like reveal it in pieces, because we got the little bits from Simon leading up to it.
Yeah.
And then that didn't go well, because everybody was already ticked off that things weren't going well, and then just having it all come from one source and be hyped up like that, and they were expecting more, then that was even more of a blow. And then you have Series 16 get released, but they didn't tell us it was releasing. We got a whole bunch of like progress of the design of the Haunted up until it was like about to go into production and should have been showing up. Then there was nothing. Silence, nothing saying that they were going to be in stores. Just
that's the thing I hate about Mega, is that they don't have, like, I know they they don't have release dates. Like
They don't have street dates.
they have street dates, but they don't have like Lego where it's like on August 1st, Target, Walmart, Amazon, our store will have this set. I don't expect them to have that. That's how Mattel is set up that way. But at least be like, okay, they should be hitting this store in the next couple weeks, and then have an idea kind of when it should be there, instead of just being like
they used to though.
But now it's like literally, we produce it,
and it's going to appear 4 months later.
We're going to throw it out into the void and hope it lands.
And then people are just like, it's basically like if you can find it, good luck. Basically, they'll just throw it out of production and be like, that's not. But yeah, like Mega had some amazing community. Like they felt like they were in the community, and that was one of the things that made me love the brand more than. I obviously love the products, but like loving the idea that these people who designed this kind of were in the community, and they, kind of were trying to, I won't say like mix in with everybody else, but just kind of like be there and listen to people.
Yeah.
Like I will, like on Mega Unboxed, it was actually a fun platform to be on. Like,
it was.
Now it's literally a wasteland where there's like, it's literally
a
like
wasteland run by a single troll that we cannot get rid of.
Geobox. You're talking about Geobox? That guy drives me nuts. It's like literally, he's like the king out there now. There's like no law at all, and it's just no man's land. And I'm like, I hate it now because it used to be like, Yan would do staff picks, which was kind of cool, right? I don't think it's as cool as like Discord or anything like that, but it's kind of cool when like, oh, you can maybe get somebody to recognize you. Now it's just a bunch of little kids taking pictures of random figures, and then some guy is like trolling the whole place. It's kind of not
Even
fun.
the moderation has fallen apart because you can get stuff like a photo of a real life door will post without getting caught in moderation, which baffles me completely.
I don't know if
That's
I don't know if Mega put so much effort into this that it kind of like collapsed on them. And I don't know if they put like all their effort, money, time into having a big community, putting it, and then they may be like, wait, maybe we don't have the room or the time to do this. I don't know. Maybe that's just speculation.
That is a good point. And I do know, because Yan has said they are a small team. And I know Yan himself is in charge of he is their community manager. So essentially he's their frontline guy for this stuff. And they're a small team. So there's a good chance they might have just overstretched themselves. But that's another thing is they don't have to do that because that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Because we can be their in between. They don't have to do it all themselves. We're here and we want to help, and we would be willing to do set reveals, answer questions if we had their backing, but we don't have their backing, and it feels like they are trying to do it all themselves and they aren't able to, when we're all standing here like, guys, like we're right here, we can help you with this.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like, oh, go ahead.
No, it's fine. After you, Jacob.
Okay, so like, it does feel like that. Like, and also, I did love the whole thing on Discord where, you could ask questions and they would answer, but then obviously people took that way too far and started just kind of being jerks about it, and then they quit. But like, that's why I haven't been in Squad 45 in a while, because it does feel kind of not as fun to be in, because that was kind of the cool part about it. But like, they put so much effort, and I do deeply appreciate this. Like, there are so many companies that really don't care about their fan base. Like, I can talk, I keep going way back to Lego, but Lego is a good example of where like they really don't care about their fan base. Like, and I don't think that's the fans kind of have a fault in that, because Lego will put something out super but it really, like, they'll put something out super overpriced, and people will be like, and it's not good, and people are like, we hate this, but we're still going to buy 10 of it and support you.
Yeah.
We absolutely hate this. Do you think they care? Like, they literally just, I feel like they just complain and like whine about it, but they still end up buying a bunch of it. And then it's like, we don't care, you're buying it. So I think that's part of it. But like, Mega really cared. Like, I've seen a good bit of people being like, wouldn't it be cool if we could get this as a set? And then somehow it would, not every single person, obviously, but like, there were just a lot of times where people would be like, wouldn't this be really cool to have? And then Mega would
like the Falcon or like the Alpha 9 drop pod.
Yeah,
people talk
it's
for years
amazing.
about what if.
Which I don't want to sound like I'm might have said this in my video. I don't want to sound like I'm looking down on Mega doing this, because I'm not. I think they're doing a great job about it. But I think that, I don't know, maybe this is just me, but I feel like part of the reason they put so much effort into the fan base is that they only have the fan base. That makes sense. Like, that's like, I gotta stop going back to Lego. Like, Lego has kids and a fan base. Kids are way bigger than the fan base. So it's like, if the kids like it, they'll go to that, and the fans, whatever.
Yeah.
If you
I mean,
buy it,
Lego's got so much broad appeal that they're literally able to
Mega
currently
only
do
has the
marketing
fan
for
base.
adults. Yeah,
I don't think. I mean, there aren't a lot of. I mean, maybe there are. Who knows? But maybe there. I don't think there's a lot of kids who are dying to have Halo Mega. Like we talked about that earlier. Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's way more cuter, way more kid. I guess I won't say kid friendly, but you know, like
It's
more.
just in your face.
It's more appealing to kids than Master Chief shooting a bunch of aliens. Like at least. You know,
probably more appealing to the parents too, because they would rather have the little lightning rat in their house than they would have evil aliens and lots of guns and that kind of thing.
But like, I just feel like they. And then again, I'm not saying that they're only caring about what the fans think because the fans are only the ones there. But I do feel like Mega kind of has to keep the fans, like, I won't say happy, but like, because that's really all they got in terms of, you know, people purchasing
it's
the
their key
product.
demographic, isn't it?
Yeah, which I'm not saying people should be like, oh wait, we can just boss them around and tell them, but no. But I do feel like Mega does have to keep up with the fans in order to keep their product selling.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I think that's a great thing because they've been putting out incredible product. And I'm not saying this in any way to look down on what they've put out. Like it does totally feel like the people designing these sets put in so much care into what they're doing. But like, you know what I'm saying? So there's that thing too. But
yeah, that
I
makes
just feel like they're
sense.
doing.
That makes a lot of sense. And like, as part of that, that's why I think they need to switch over to. And honestly, I feel like this is in general a problem with a lot of companies where they're trying to appeal to that amorphous, wider audience.
Yeah.
And they're appealing to the amorphous, wider audience.
It's like
at
what the
the
Halo
expense.
TV show did.
Exactly. They try
Yeah.
to bring in this other audience that, like, where is this other audience? Who is this other audience? When do we ever see them? Because as soon as they get on board with it, then they're no longer part of the other audience.
Yeah.
So we don't ever know or see this other audience. And it's always done at the expense of the existing fan base, when the existing fan base will usually, depending on the franchise, will usually be that company's most stalwart supporters. And it will be from them talking about how amazing it is that will bring in that amorphous other audience instead of the company circumventing the fans. Because you're not going to get a better voice than the community that loves the product.
Yeah. And I think this is where it comes to your a point you mentioned earlier, Zee, and I think you kind of touched on it a little bit as well, Jacob, which is the idea that you need to have the whole community represented. And I think it's great that Mega is still engaging with Simon, for example, but if you're going to engage with the community, you need to engage with all aspects of it, because actually you need to have representation from all of your different audiences that form that community. And I think that's a massive shame that they've sort of stepped away from doing that, because like to get to the heart of what you were saying, Zee, absolutely there is a massive community of people who are willing to pick things up and really carry this brand as much as they can because they care so deeply about it, but they can only do it if Mega invest time in them as well. And I think that's right now it feels like they don't see that as an investment, but actually if you invest in the community again and you keep that investment going, it's only going to strengthen your productivity in the future as well.
I don't feel like
it'll take some of the weight off of the team that's behind the scenes as well. Like I was saying, like you have like 3 stages. You have the company, then you have the go-between people, and then you have the more I guess the consumer end of things, where a lot of people just want to buy the product and enjoy it. They don't necessarily want to worry about taking photos of it or reviewing it, talking about it online. They just want to buy it. And then there's people like us who are kind of in between that want to provide information to people. And you kind of need all 3 stages, otherwise it'll fall apart. And to use Lego as an example, they do have that. They have their they have their group of people. Like with Lego, you obviously
The LAN
the
network.
company's so big, you have to be
I
huge. You have to have a
despise
huge audience.
LAN. It's not. LAN is literally like, it feels like it doesn't feel right. It feels like they send them the product, and then they're like, you can review this. If we're sending it to you for free, you review it, but they have a
But
gun
it
to your
has to
head.
be a
It's
positive review.
But it has to be positive, and they
Yeah.
have a gun to your head, but they're not like, there's like, you know what I'm trying to say? I've never seen a LAN review where the people are like, this is terrible. They're like, this is amazing, and that's like, because we're sending this to you for free, and if you want to keep getting free product, you better give us a good, like a positive rating.
Yeah,
It's just like,
and
so,
that is part of the fact that they're big and they're not necessarily going to be able to change course so quick. But with Mega, like they can be right there, and their people can be closer into the whole thing to know that, hey, these people are saying, there's this thing that's not good, it needs to be fixed. And like that's why for me, like I don't see any point in making review videos if it's just going to be all positive. If the set has bad parts of it, then the bad parts need to be pointed out, because otherwise,
exactly.
because
I
it's
heard
a
a Lego-
snowball, actually. Like Amazon's reviews, say I review a set, right, and I say it's all great when it has major issues. Somebody buys it and then sees the issues, then goes to Amazon and leaves a 1-star review. Then that could snowball into more and more 1-star reviews as people get frustrated because they don't know what they're getting.
It feels like a lot of 1-star reviews on Amazon or my box getting crushed. So
That's true. That's true. People care too much about that.
I mean, that's not the product's fault. That's Amazon's fault.
I had a dented corner.
But it just feels like
Collecting
that's
value
not.
is ruined.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's inbox collectors and stuff, but then I'm like, guys, you realize your 1-star review is affecting the product, not the shipper. It's not their fault. It's the Amazon's fault. But yeah, I totally agree with everything you said, Z. I mean, I do feel like but yeah, I do think that I'm trying to get my thoughts off together. I mean, I do think investing in the community is a great thing. Like having people, like you said, who are there to like be the middleman. And I think it's good to have, like you said, I've seen a lot of people, like obviously LAN, where everything they review is good, and there's no like. I think I saw a Lego YouTuber the other day who got a question. I don't remember who it was. They were like, "Why do you only review, or why do you buy sets that are bad if you don't like them?" And they're like, "Well, if I only reviewed what was good, we would not know what's not good." You know what I'm saying? So if I only review the good stuff, but I don't review the bad stuff, then we have no like standard. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So you review everything to show this is what's bad, this is what's good. There's kind of part of it. But yes, I don't think Mega will ever, maybe they will, I don't know, have a thing like LAN. They might. I don't know.
They used to. It was called the Mega Ambassador Program. I actually found.
Had one?
Yeah,
Really?
I dug around a while back as the first Infinite Wave was coming out, and there was some blogs that had like this badge at the bottom that was like Mega Ambassador Review, where they were sent sets and they review it on their blog. It was such a random collection of blogs too. I only found a few that actually showed officially Mega Ambassadors.
No, who was it though?
I don't even remember.
Was it like Jang? Or was it?
No, it wasn't Jang. It was some random. There was like this. It was like a mom who reviewed stuff for her kids because she bought it for her kids, and then there was a couple others, and then.
So not really community members, just.
It was
random.
just random, and so then that led me to talk to Yan about if it was still a thing, and that's how I reviewed the Pelican.
Yeah, I was about to tell you that. I was about to ask you, like, didn't you get the Pelican from a?
Yeah, I just straight up said, "Hey, is this still a thing?" And he was like, well, "Give me your contact info. We'll see what we have that you can review." And then they followed that later when the Master Chief Collection STCC set was releasing. I sure hope this was Mattel's fault, but they picked the most random collection of YouTubers to review it, and it hurts the people they picked because they picked this one guy that clearly didn't know anything about Halo and spent the entire review calling him Master Chef the whole time, and he got the set for free. And I'm like, whoa, hang on.
They picked one of my friends in the Jurassic community who just has a Jurassic platform and has never done any Halo content.
Yeah, that's rough. Yeah.
So it was there, and it kind of petered out. And I had to talk to Yan about it recently, and I'm hoping to talk to him more about it because again, I feel like that's one aspect of connecting with the community, which I don't want to sound at all like we're just fishing for free product here, because
I think some people. Yeah, I think some people are like,
to be able to get the information out. And theoretically, the information would come out a little bit before release, so people knew what to expect. That was what was great about the Pelican, is I was able to review that, get it out. Like, I think it was a week before it was hitting shelves. They told me a specific day to put the video out. It released, and it was like, then the Pelican was live, and people could see all the details, and then they could buy it. And people loved it. That video is one of my most viewed videos on the channel.
I think it's the same for us as well.
Your most viewed is that Clash on the Ring, ain't it?
Clash on the Ring is still the biggest. But again, that was an early review, which that was Entertainment Earth's fault that they released early. But yeah, it's the second. Let's see, the Pelican is the second most viewed video on my channel, and it's still gains views. So people like early information.
Yeah,
that's a great thing.
I think it's a broader discussion around, and maybe let's change up the order. So I think comms naturally goes hand in hand with topic 4, which is community engagement. And I think you talking about the ambassador network is really interesting, because there used to be another scheme that's before both of you were collecting, which was called the Global Builders Community. And what this used to be, so what it was people could submit mocks. So it used to be through social media, and they could submit their own builds, and there would be like a competition to see who got the best build, and whoever got the best build got a toolbox from Mega of like loads of different parts that they could then get refilled. Forever. They were meant to be unlimited refills. They didn't end up fulfilling that, but the idea was that people would just be able to constantly build mocks, so then your biggest builders are supplied by the company, therefore producing more content, which gets more people interested in it, and it creates that self-fulfilling content creation journey.
That might not be a great business decision to just be sending loads of, I don't know. Like, don't they? I mean, the only time I think of now where they like do that is like the Christmas Formation Fest. Didn't they supply the prizes for that?
They did. They supplied prizes for the last two. Didn't they also? They within the past like 2 years supplied Brickman with supplies.
Yeah, they sent him a lot of pieces. I remember when he built that big AA gun.
But like, right? Yeah,
doing stuff like that is a great thing. I think they did. They did the Christmas Formation Fest. So I wouldn't say they're completely out of the game of doing stuff like that, but. I mean, it's a great thing when you're able to be like, I think that Formation Fest was a great thing because, one, they had, you could get prizes directly from Mega, and two, obviously the official, unofficial, what was it, 5th part or 6th part of 145. So like that kind of stuff is really cool, and that's a good way to engage the community through, obviously, the companies like involved in it. So stuff like that is great. I think that's a good marketing tool, and also good, community engagement tool.
Yeah, the Toymation Fest have turned out pretty darn good. I've helped with the past 2 years of Toymation Fest, and the amount of entries, holy crap. The first time I think I was on the call with everybody for 5 hours, and then the other time I had to tap out because I had to go somewhere, but that was after like 4 hours, and I think they went for another 3 after that, so it was like 7 hours or something, and people stuck around to watch almost the whole thing, which was
that's commitment right there.
That is, Man,
I've tried my hand at stop motion a couple times, and I just can't. I've tried. It's like, no, it ain't like I can't do it. I just like, it's just not something I find interesting, and I just kind of like lose it after a few minutes. So I'm like, man, this is I don't know. It's just not something that I think I'm personally good at or interested in. However, it is amazing to see some of these people.
Well, actually, another thing that reminded me, they Mega did more recently supply Mootroid Productions with
the Scorpion.
I think that was probably that and the Toymation Fest were their 2 most recent.
Yeah, they kind of like branded it like it was a commercial,
which was fantastic. It was like the old Mega commercials.
It was so cool talking to Charlie about that as well. That was such an awesome animation. And I think it boils down to community engagement should be more of that, right? It should be more of actually empowering your community to feel as if they can have that contribution. And I think they were definitely doing that for some time with a lot of the initiatives like Mega Unboxed, like some of the other projects. And I think I'd really like to see them go back to a lot of that, back to a lot of like staff picks, engaging with the community, actually sharing people's content. Do you remember when they did the blog post on Brickman's builds, and then it looked like they were going to start a series on that?
And like now, wasn't his build on the instruction manuals of the Alpha 9 drop pods?
Yes,
stuff like that. Where like they're kind of giving recognition and kind of advertising a big member of the community who's obviously probably the biggest in the mock building community, I think. Like that kind of stuff. Like that's just good marketing. Like when you're like, oh, I know that guy from YouTube on the back of the instruction manual. It's like they are recognizing and kind of caring that, our community. So stuff like that.
Tighter knit community as well, which if they amping up that kind of effort, if they have a small team, would be difficult, which is again why there are, like even for like Instagram or whatever, there are a handful of really good photographers that Mega could get on board to do stuff like do photography of the new sets, run competitions, like all of that. And if you have the community, engage the community, then it's less work for everybody. That to me, I feel like is the biggest thing right now is like they have resources sitting here that they can
they just aren't using them. I would love to see the return of photographs on box art from people like that. Maybe not the actual
that would be awesome.
Front of the box, maybe not like the actual big image, but somewhere on the box that you just have some really cool, like, or maybe they could put, this would be kind of a cool idea, maybe keep the boxes kind of the same, but on the back of the box have a photo of the set and then say, this photo is from so-and-so on Instagram or this and that. That would be, I think, a crazy cool idea because it's like somebody, this is A, you can see a real photo of the product, and B, recognition to somebody in the community.
Heck, you could use Mega Unboxed. That could be the thing that brings Mega Unboxed back. Say you get a handful of people who do photos, you get them to post
there you go.
On there, and then you use those photos on the back of the box. And if it's sets that aren't out yet, people are going to be going there to see pictures of the new sets, and then it'll be on the back of the box, and people will go, oh, I saw that on there. I'm going to tell other people about this, or I'm going to sign up for this, and then you just pull more people in that way.
And boom, there you
Mega,
go, Mega.
Please, please.
Yep. Boom, there you go, Mega. You got an idea from us.
I think that's a really good idea. That would be really awesome. Yeah. I think that's such a cool way of actually getting some really organic community engagement going as well, which would work quite nicely. So I feel like we've covered a lot of the main issues really nicely. There's one more thing that I want to touch on, and then I'll come to you, Z, just for any sort of interesting observations off the back of the initial video you did. But one thing I think it would be remiss not to mention as well is quality control. I feel like quality control has got so much better since the early days of Mega, but it's slipped a little bit again recently, and I think it's sort of a balancing act. That's more so with the knockoffs than anything. I think that was the biggest quality issue recently, but I have seen people reporting missing parts again more recently, so I'm curious as to what both of your experiences are.
Actually, I'm going to grab something. I got something to show you quality control-wise from an old set that I have.
I'm just forever cursed with bad quality control.
Yeah.
So I know, like, I have the reviewer's curse, so I know I'm probably going to get something, but the main thing that I've noticed quality control-wise is issues with the hands and the arms, where I'll have hands that come molded a little too wide and the weapons...
So they're not fully in the socket as well.
Or with that, which I've found a way to fix that pretty easily and consistently, but it's still a pain, and I feel like I shouldn't have to fix it right out of the box. That's the biggest thing. They're printing, though, printing that small is always hit or miss, so I'm not going to hold them too hard to that because they're doing decently well. Like the Hive Exterminators pack is a great example of a lot of fantastic printing, even with like the blood type.
I've got one of those on the way.
Good. I think the main thing though is the fact that customer service has been so difficult to reach lately.
Yes. Yeah.
And that is due in part to the change of system, which I understand why they changed the system, because people were exploiting it and getting tons of rare figures for free, which
Yeah.
that makes me very mad. I actually talked to some of the people who publicized the method to get
Oh my
the
god.
stuff out, and like they're like, "Oh yeah, it was a bad idea. I can see that now." But I'm like, "Well, now it's too late. Now
Yeah,
we
now
have
you've
to
ruined
set
it for
everything
everyone
back."
else. Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't find it, but I'll just
Okay.
explain it. I don't want to dig for like 10 minutes to find it. So, yeah, the quality used to not be good. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it was like when they
I
originally
wouldn't
started.
buy it because it was bad. Like I was like, "Oh, this is crappy Lego stuff."
Yeah.
Like no.
No, like I bought it was a long time ago. I remember all the glory days when Toys R Us had this mega all down the aisle. The TMNT, they had the Technodrome.
Yes.
It was an amazing set. It's a beautiful set. I just took it apart like 2 years ago. I had it sitting for a long time. All these little gold connector pieces
Oh
that
yeah.
kind of made it a dome, they all just snapped.
Yeah.
Like they would literally just break. And the entire set is in a bag somewhere, just in shambles. And that kind of stuff was like relatively common. And that was so annoying because literally like 100 pieces just broke. And it's like, I mean, I got replacements from customer service and I have them in a bag, but that's another thing. Customer service has dropped kinda, I think. Which I think the problem with that, I might go ahead and just jump into the next ish segment of this is
go for it.
Customer service is like they used to be so on customer service and it was great, but I think people took advantage of it because you really didn't have to show.
He was saying this. Yeah.
Anything. Oh, he did. Yeah, you didn't have to show any kind of like nothing about it. You could just be like,
"Hey, I need this. This is a great example." Is I got the Cabal Harvester set off Facebook Marketplace from a guy who didn't really know much about Mega. He just was a garage sale guy.
I remember that video. Yeah.
And the figures were all missing. Whoever had it before knew to yoink it out. So I emailed Bang. I just said, "Hey, look, I have this set. I got it used. The figures are missing. Is there any way you can help?" And they just said, "Oh, sure." And they sent me all of the figures.
Oh my god.
All of them. The only thing they couldn't send me was Cade's weapon. And that was just because they didn't have any in stock. But they sent me all the figures. They didn't say, "No, because it's a used set. Obviously, we can't help you, blah, blah, blah." No, they just said, "Sure." And that was like right around as they started switching over. And like, if you told them directly, "Hey, I have this problem. I got this set used, blah, blah, blah," they would help you. But if you just said, "Oh, this is broken," like the Elder Hunter, the silver guy, the one that everybody wanted, that was the figure that caused the most problems that I could see, because you can find YouTube videos where it's like, how to get 20 of these for free. And it's like, you just tell Mega you're missing this piece or that piece, and they send you the whole figure all over again. And
that's the problem.
Did that.
You would basically be like, I could literally not even buy a set and then just be like, "Hey, I bought this set and it's missing the figures. Can I have them?" And they'll just send them to you. Notice I didn't do that, but like, you could just do that. And
that's so crazy.
People being people took advantage of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why it's dropped some, because everybody was like, free figures, free figures. And I haven't really had any customer service issues recently, which is good, but didn't they do a thing where like you would have to return the whole set or something like that?
That was only a few select cases, and I think they adjusted. Now you just have to return the whatever it is that's particularly figures. If there was a figure in question, you need to send it back. For example, I had Lights of St. Helios with the hand that snapped, which those elite hands are another iffy part of quality control. Sometimes they can break randomly. And so they were like, "We need you to send it back." And I'm like, "That's fine. I think that's a fine way to do quality stuff, you know."
Yeah.
It's probably expensive for them because they have to pay for the shipping label because it's free shipping when you're shipping something back. And they might be able to get away with just maybe providing a photo. I don't know. But I don't disagree with their methods now. It's just they aren't keeping up with it. So I sent it back. I had tracking. It got delivered. And it was 3 weeks later, and there was nothing in return. So I emailed them, and I was like, "Hey, guys, I sent this back weeks ago, and I've gotten nothing in return." I get an email a couple days later saying, "Oh, we just sent that out to you, and you should get it in a couple days." I'm like, "Whoa, hang on. So you forgot until I sent you another email?"
Yeah.
And like, how many other people, because I've heard lots of people saying, "Oh, I sent this figure and I never got anything back." And for some reason, a lot of these people don't try and talk to customer service more. And I'm like, how many people's return orders have been forgotten?
That's
people
not
hate
acceptable.
customer service now.
Well, I do think another issue was like, this is just wouldn't this be great if you bought a set, something was missing or QC whatever, and then they'd be like, you can send that back, we'll send you a brand new sealed one, and then you get the brand new sealed one and there's another issue in that one. That's another.
Yeah.
That would just.
It just spirals, doesn't it?
Yeah, I just see that happening, and then obviously I know customer service isn't cheap. Like, I'm pretty sure it's not just send a free product and then have to pay shipping. So it's probably not cheap for the company overall. But, like, I do think people take advantage of it. It's a problem. They can't just be giving free stuff left and right. But another thing that I can see an issue that maybe they could work to fix is I know, like, if you send back a Halo Hero or blind bags, I don't know if they fix that. They wouldn't send you the exact ones back.
Yeah.
And
that's
sometimes it works in your favor. Like, I remember that time you sent some back, Z, and they gave you some, like, Charlie series or whatever.
It was Foxtrot. Yeah, I got a bunch of
Foxtrot. Yeah.
Oh,
that
wow.
works in your favor, because you get something pretty cool and rare for...
I'm actually waiting to see if I get a light figure back, or if I'm going to end up with a Series 16 or 17 figure instead, or even a...
That would... I'd be...
Yeah, one of the red new honor guards instead.
Don't tell people that. They'd be
I don't know. I'm just like,
purpose.
it's a throw of a dice now. We'll see.
But don't be telling people that. Because they'll be breaking their figures on purpose and sending them back.
Oh gosh. They would too.
I mean, like, that would just... No, that's not...
To be fair,
but
that's probably the most cost-effective way of getting them at this point.
Buy what you can, break it, send it in, and hope you get the new stuff.
Oh my god.
Oh gosh, the meta of Mega Construx collecting has evolved.
Yeah, but
We've come so far.
But see, sometimes it works in your favor, and then sometimes it doesn't. And then you'll end up sending something that's kind of rare in, they'll send you like a Series 3 Halo Infinite.
You start breaking all of your heroes to try and get rare ones, and you just get an army of Agent Lock.
That wouldn't be fun.
I might end up with that. We'll see.
We don't...
Honestly,
I'm sorry.
I'm fine getting another lock. I'll be fine with that. I actually love that figure.
It's
a really cool
for, like,
figure, yeah.
customs and stuff. He's a good like part swapping. I'm not like a customizer, but I do part swaps sometimes. That's a great part swap figure. But,
I think he's really cool. So
bottom line is that sometimes people just take stuff to an extreme with taking advantage of stuff, and then it's like, what you gonna do? Because I mean, sometimes there's just no way around it. People are gonna try to get as much free stuff as they can with this kind of stuff, but I hope that they can do something to fix it a little bit.
I agree.
Like figure out because obviously there are
customer service is on Mattel.
Yeah.
I can say that much. It's all Mattel email addresses. You contact them through Mattel's contact form, and the Mega side of things, where it's like the Mega parts replacement form, broken, never works. You have to contact or Mattel directly, and then you can get help. So all of the customer service issues is Mattel, just so that in case anybody is wondering and wanting to get mad at Mega for that, it is Mattel. Don't go off on Mega for their customer service because it's Mattel.
Yeah.
Blame it on them.
So I feel like we've actually had a really good conversation, guys, and we've gone through a lot of different topics, which has been awesome. Before we start to wrap things up, Z, was there anything you noticed off the back of your video gaining so much traction that we haven't touched on that you think is particularly interesting?
I mean, the majority of it is obviously
distribution
covered, but there is one thing that stuck out to me was that I had some people telling me where they said their parents worked at Walmart or whatever, and the reason that Walmart stopped carrying like heroes and stuff was because of rampant theft, and they could not stop all of the small packaged things from getting stolen, which is, to me, it's kind of a huge thing, because up until this point, we've not really known for sure why heroes have been disappearing, and even for blind bags. But I'm like, that makes so much sense. If stores can't stop theft, and I walked into Target, I've seen just blind bag remnants where people just open up and take what's inside. So I'm like, that actually makes so much sense why they would stop carrying the small stuff, because of, like, how do you stop that kind of theft when the person...
But they don't really stop it for other things. Like, I don't know. I think they carry a lot of other, I don't see them stopping carrying Lego minifigure packs, but maybe it's because Legos sell way better and they have a bigger supply of them.
I think it's because they have a bigger supply, because you can go, say, if I wanted to make a bunch of money, right? I go into Walmart, I find a case of Series 17. I steal all the Euroids, leave the packaging, go home, I make $200 off of those Roy's, and
I saw
just got free money.
Yeah, I saw this. I mean, I was at Walmart the other day, and they had a bunch of like Pokemon card tins. There was like 50 of them. They were like $25 tins. They had like 5 or 6 packs or something like that. Every one of them, somebody had gone through and opened every pack. Taking all the cards, like 50 of them. That's literally like over $1,000 in product. And somebody who just all of them. So I just saw a tin laying on the floor and was like, oh, it's open. And then I looked at the shelf and every one of them's open. So I mean, Walmart's kind of a no man's land is also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Walmart, but even like I was surprised at how much theft I see at Target. And
Yeah.
Target in my area is not in a sketchy area. It's in the middle of a college campus.
Yeah.
And so like there's not it's not a place that you think you'd see theft. But if stores can't stop the theft of the more popular items, they won't sell it anymore. Like they'll sell minifigures, because sure, people might steal minifigures every now and again, but you won't have some random scalper coming in and stealing half of what's on the shelf because they can.
And maybe that has to do with how few there are. Because if you stole a bunch of minifigures and you were planning on reselling them, that's not really going to work out in your favor, because you make a little bit of money, but they're everywhere else.
It's not enough
so.
because there's a lot of supply. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think
manga,
that's
it's like
the point. Yeah.
yeah, manga
Yeah,
is
there's at least like 3 or 4 comments where people are saying that their
That kind of thing.
stores, both Walmart and Target, have stopped because of theft.
That's
And
really
the
then
bottom
they
line
talk to
is-
people.
don't steal. Anyone watching this, if you steal it, they'll stop carrying it. So
If
just
you,
purchase
if
the
you
product.
steal it, we're gonna hunt you down.
Yes, we will come. We won't be able to hunt Mega anymore because there won't be any in stores, so we'll just hunt the Steelers.
Yeah.
Hunt the
Then we'll get it back.
The Steelers, and we're not talking about the baseball team.
no, not those. No.
Was there anything else, or was that really the only other thing that we hadn't covered?
I think we've covered most of it. Like, so many people are saying the same things, and I've just heard a lot of the same stuff where people are frustrated because they can't get stuff and they want to buy stuff, and they would if they can. Obviously, with the fan vote set, people are complaining in some cases, and I've found that the most vocal people tend to be the most negative because, you know, they want to complain. Like, had a conversation with a guy on the Instagram post where it's like he was complaining so loud that the EU never gets set, and then in the same breath complaining so loud about the fact that the multiplayer set shipping was so high. And I'm like, we can't get an ideal situation right now. I think that's just the fact is we are not going to get an ideal situation. We're
It's
not
the
going to get
best
an ideal
of right
situation.
now, isn't it?
Playing
Yeah, we need the best option for now. And if we just go through some of the less than ideal things, like paying a lot more for this set than maybe we would want to, then maybe we can reach ideal in the future. But yelling about it on Instagram
doesn't help anything.
No, it just
Like,
it doesn't help at all.
yeah, constructive criticism is always great. This is constructive criticism, what we're doing right now. But complaining just never does any good.
Complaining gets the Q&A channel in Squad 45 shut down because
You don't know.
ban people fast enough to keep them from just cussing Yan and Kevin out. And it's a huge shame that we lost that resource because people could not keep themselves together long enough to say something constructive.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen a lot of, I've seen a lot of collectors, people in the, you know, this community, not this specific community, but a lot of collectors across the board tend to complain about things that aren't necessarily that big a deal. Looking at the Lego Star Wars fans, they just can never say anything nice about anything. And sometimes I'm like, guys, come on. It's like, you know, this product isn't the greatest, but okay, maybe I'm not trying to. The point I'm trying to make is that complaining or, you know, criticism about something like this, which is a big deal. It's like kind of life or death for the brand, distribution, right? Like, we can't find this stuff, you know. But then
if we
complaining
can't
about
buy it,
things,
they're not going to make money. That's
yeah, but then complaining about things that are so minor and small that it's just like, why are you complaining
the
about
macro binoculars don't have a black line printed on the front of them.
And that would be nice, yeah. But then it's like, now that set's a whole other story. That set is literally just a bit Lego being greedy.
Yeah.
That whole set's just, it's just like throw it together as fast as I can and get it out. But but you know, I'm trying to say, like, stuff like that. Where I'm like, it's not ideal, but is it really worth throwing a fit about.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, that's where I'm kind of where I draw the line. Like, the distribution problem. I'm not saying it's okay for people to complain, but I do understand the frustration here more than I understand the frustration about that kind of stuff like that. Like, this is, I can't, and it's not people are complaining because they want to buy the product, but they can't. You know, they're not trying to tear down the brand by saying, I mean, they kind of are, but like, I'm trying not to, you know what I'm trying to say there? Like, they want to buy it, so they're not trying to be like just negative for absolutely no reason for the brand. Like, they want this product, but they're complaining, and that complaining isn't really doing any good. Yeah. It's understandable to some degree, but it's not the best way to go about it. Yeah. So, yeah.
I think like what I'd say off of that.
Spread misinformation too.
Yeah. I think so. The way I'd round this sort of whole episode out, actually, really, with what you've just said as well, Jacob, is that if you're going to, so obviously we've spoken about a lot of different issues throughout this, and it's really important that you guys watching have your voices heard as well. So please do leave comments, but do so in a constructive manner. What we want to think about is what steps can Mega practically take that are going to help to solve these things, and how does that strengthen the community in the future. And that's really important. You know, it's not something that's going to be solved overnight. It's going to need a long-term solution, and I think as fans we need to understand that, and we need to be willing to embrace that and engage with that. So please do be positive in the comments that you share. Obviously, if things aren't working properly, they're not working properly, and it's important to acknowledge that. But there's a way to do that that's still conducive to a positive conversation. So keep that in mind.
I will say something.
I would add to that too. For the people in the comments, please don't pretend like you have any idea what goes on in a massive corporation's planning every day, like stuff, because we don't. And the more people claim like they do know, the more confusion we have, and that just does not help.
Yeah.
I will say one thing that I just thought about. I remember earlier you said, what's something you'd like to see with like distribution stuff? I hope that once this whole situation might be fixed, that maybe we can see re-releases of things that we've missed in this down period. Like,
clearly Mega is willing to do that, because we have the Falcon re-releasing. Yeah. The 20-inch pack kind of had a soft re-release.
But it's like pretty available now, you know? Yeah. I mean, it's like, like Series 16 and Series 17. I don't want to be whatever. I have like no doubt that I'm probably never going to find those in like Target or Walmart, Amazon, whatever. Yeah. But I hope I can find them somewhere. I don't have to pay ridiculous, over, I guess, resale value. But like, it'll be nice that maybe 2 years down the line or 3 years, whatever, how long it takes. Might be way longer than that. I don't know. But when we get out of the drought, I guess, maybe they can re-release this stuff and like give people another opportunity. Because if you read the trading and looking for, or anything like that, and all the Discord servers, every single person looking for Series 16, Series 17. I mean, every other thing in there is literally, I'm looking for Series. There is a demand for it, and nobody can find it. So it would be nice for it to show up, in some way. Like, and I think Simon said something about this a little while ago. Like, it would be nice to be able to buy a full set of Halo Heroes from Mattel Creations.
Yes, it would.
Like, buy all 5. And I don't know, I think a lot more people will be happy with that than unhappy. I can see a ton of people complaining, saying, I just want one of them. I don't want to pay $35 to have all 5 of them. But then a lot more people are like, knock them all out in one go with like, whatever shipping is or whatever, so that would be nice. But, I mean, there's always going to be complainers, but like, there's a lot more, I think there'll be a lot more people who are happy about that than unhappy. Yeah. So,
I agree.
That'd be great.
I agree with that as well. Cool. Well, I feel like we've hit a nice natural point to really start to close things up. So thank you both for giving me so much time with this. I think it's been really interesting seeing what some of the potential solutions are, what we would like to see in the future, and everything like that. So before we disappear for this episode, I wanted to give you both a chance to promote yourselves, so let people know where they can find you, what you're working on, all of that kind of stuff. So Jacob, why don't you go first?
So yeah, I am just on YouTube and Discord as of right now. On YouTube, collect them all, obviously. I'm hoping to get a pretty regular schedule out sometime soon, but I try to put out reviews that are kind of more talking. Obviously I review the product, but I like to get my thoughts out and talk about it.
Yeah.
And I would like to do videos like this for various things, just kind of talking about my opinions on things. So if that's interesting to you, obviously, on YouTube here, but and then on Discord, collect them all. I'm in most servers. I do have my own server. It hasn't been very active recently because I've been spinning a lot of other ones. It's kind of just there, but yeah, just select them all on Discord and everything like that. And that's about it for me right now. But
awesome. Cool. I will make sure to link to your YouTube channel in the description below as well. So please do go and subscribe if you're watching this, and go and check out Jacob's channel as well. And then Z, where can people find you apart from on Zeta Halo with a very happy Craig behind you?
I mean, basically, if you just Google Demarcation Media and you see a blue D or a blue Spartan, that's me. I mean,
Cool.
Facebook, or I think I show up as Z Fowler with Facebook too. So I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Discord, YouTube. You'll even find me on some websites like toyphotographers.com because I've written for them before. So essentially, just Googling Demarcation Media, you'll find me. It's not that hard anymore.
And I'm gonna plug something for you. Go buy some of those warrior pins because I want to see some more of those.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Mercari and Etsy too. If you see Demarcation Media on those two, that is me.
Okay,
go buy the pins because I really want some more in the future. Those things are pretty awesome.
Go do it, guys. Go check it out. Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me, guys. That is
You're
going to do
welcome. I
it
enjoyed
for
it.
the show. Thank you, everyone, for joining Builds with Bloks. If you like the show, then do feel free to support Podcast Evolved on Patreon. I'm going to say maybe leave it for a little bit, just until we decide if we're going to come back more frequently. So maybe ignore that part of the script for now. And then we will revisit that in the future. Until next time, whenever it may be, evolved.
See ya.
You can do it, guys. You got to say evolved as well.
Oh, we have to do it as well.
Evolved.
Evolved.
There we go.
Evolved.
Thank you.